versus Kathy Morris Rogers. Kathy Morris Rogers will not be participating tonight. However, Ian Field, her campaign manager, is here and will read an opening statement on her behalf. At the end of that, the rest of the forum will be devoted to Richard.
Hi, my name is Ian, and I've grown up in Walla. It's an honor to be here representing Kathy Morris Rogers. The Congresswoman is sorry she cannot be here tonight. Kathy Morris Rogers has been to Walla many times, and she'll be back again before the election. The top priority for Representative McMorris Rogers is serving the people of the 5th Congressional District. She has worked for more use of hydropower, for keeping the VA Medical Center here in Walla, and funding for rural health care and initiatives to bring more doctors to Eastern Washington. She co-founded the Military Families Caucus to help support our troops and their families. On national issues, she is working to create jobs and helping businesses grow, reducing regulations and taxes. Both her hydropower and her military families work have been done by working closely with both parties, including the Democrats. She knows she represents all of the people of the 5th Congressional District, and she is looking forward to being back here soon. Thanks.
Thank you. We have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all attending, and I appreciate you listening to me. My name is Rich Cowan. I'm from Spokane. And I am worried about this district in our country. We have $16 trillion in debt, $8 trillion just in the last 8 years. This fiscal cliff looms with another $7 trillion of economic calamity. And meanwhile, the other Washington is doing nothing. The U.S. House has spent 13 days working since July, and they're off the job until after the election. And getting themselves reelected and helping other career politicians in their elections is more important than solving our fiscal problems. Bond and market rating firms threaten to lower our credit rating because the federal government can't work together. And guess what? They're right. Partisan bickering on both sides. Worst Congress ever with a 10% approval rating. Now, the Founding Fathers' vision was citizen legislators. You have a career, you hold office for a short time, and you come home. It's not a job where you pander to special interests who re-elect you. No, you're sent to Washington to get the job done right. Now, I was born here in this district, in Spokane. I'm a cougar, and I put myself through school working as a firefighter. I created a company called North by Northwest, and I understand how jobs are created and destroyed. And government doesn't create jobs, people do. I stayed home and brought hundreds of jobs and millions of dollars to this area. And when I decided to run to be your representative, I left the company debt-free. And that is the know-how I will bring to this broken Congress, stop the partisan bickering, and find compromise. We don't need the Democratic answer or the Republican answer. We need the right answer. An answer that honors our values, values that keep our promises to seniors, our veterans, and our military.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now a series of questions composed for the chamber by the chamber members. First question. Access to viable transportation infrastructure is vital to Walla Walla's economic future. Completing the expansion of Highway 12 and ensuring that we maintain commercial air service are issues that are extremely important to our community. If elected, what role do you see yourself playing to help us with these issues, and do you think that as a first-year congressman you can be effective?
Well, first of all, thank you for that question. And Highway 12 and air service are two hugely important issues here in the region here. And being, driven on Highway 12 many times, it is a very dangerous highway. And there's been a lot of deaths. We also need to have a highway that we can transport goods and services in an easy way to and from. And also with the Horizon air schedule now being cut back more and more all the time, that's a big problem. It's all about working together. And right now we have a Congress that's broken. Both sides are arguing and nothing's happening. We all know this. And my whole attitude is compromise, working together, and getting to know each other as people. When we get to know each other as people, we can really do a lot of work. And as a freshman representative, that's what I will do, is work together, get to know people on a personal level. And we're not doing that right now. And that really would be the first step.
Thank you. Next question. No matter what happens during the November election, our country is facing the so-called fiscal cliff. David Brooks was just here on Monday, I hope you all saw him, and indicated that he believes there is a 30 to 40% chance that we will fall off the edge of the fiscal cliff and find ourselves back in a recession. Do you think we can avoid the looming fiscal cliff, and how would you help us do that?
Well, we have no choice but to avoid this fiscal cliff. It's absolute disaster in all areas of government, the military, social services, and we'd also have the largest tax increase in the history. It's something that's just not acceptable. And having Congress only in session for 13 days in the last few months is absolutely ridiculous. We need to work together. We need to get ourselves in a room together, go through this budget line by line, and solve the problem. Kicking the can down the road does not solve anything. It just makes things worse.
There will be two more questions. The third question. Agriculture in the Walla Walla Valley depends upon a dependable workforce, and often that labor is supplied by migrant workers, some of whom may be undocumented. What is your stance on immigration, and how do you think immigration policy can be shaped to ensure the long-term viability of the agricultural sector of our economy?
Well, first of all, I'm a big fan of the DREAM Act, which allows a pathway for citizenship for young people who are in college or in the military, who have been in the U.S. Most of their lives, have been living as Americans. They need to have a pathway to citizenship. We also need to have a program, a guest worker program, and we need to be able to allow fair and equitable immigration status for people here. And we also need to enforce the laws at the same time. But we also, the other thing I just want to comment on agriculture real quick, is we don't have a single member of the state delegation on the agriculture committee itself. Remember Tom Foley, he was on the committee, he was chair of the committee for many years. And that's something I will do, is be on the Ag Committee. It's a $2 billion industry in this district alone.
And the final question in this set. The future solvency of Social Security affects both the young and old alike. According to the 2012 annual report by the Social Security and Medicare Boards of Trustees, Social Security reserves will be depleted by 2033. What are your plans to fix Social Security to ensure that benefits are available for current and future generations?
Well, again, this is another issue that we don't have the political willpower right now to solve. We cannot kick this can down the road. We need to solve it now so it can be solvent forever. And what I would do is, and I know this takes a little doing here, but remove the cap. Right now there's a cap of about $110,000. And when you make more than that in any given year, you're not subject to the withholding. Remove that cap, and that cap solves 3/4 of the problem. Right there, just one item, and then some other structural reforms. I'm not in favor of basically extending the age out too much, because a lot of people work with their bodies and they look forward to retirement at a certain age. So, but removing the cap would be my first priority.
Thank you. You now have an opportunity for a 2-minute closing statement.
Sure. Well, again, I appreciate your time and willing to stay. I know I'm the last person here, so thank you very much. My opponent's focus is on re-electing other career politicians to this broken Congress. I'm sorry she wasn't here today. She was actually in Indiana working on helping to re-elect somebody over there. And I wish she would have been here so we could have had a constructive debate. My path is a combination of individual accountability and responsibility and shared accountability and responsibility. I believe in government, but I believe in a government that is accountable and fair and equitable and responsible. And I was an Eagle Scout, and one of the things in the Boy Scout law was to be thrifty. And I think government can be thrifty, but it also needs to serve people at the same time. A few years ago, I made a movie called The Basket. And the theme of the movie was, divided we will falter, together we shall fly. And by working together, we can overcome and solve our problems. And together, we can take on the issues that matter to all of us here at Eastern Washington, like creating jobs, preserving Social Security and Medicare, protecting veterans' benefits, and educating our young people for an increasingly competitive global economy. I'd like to thank and the Chamber for sponsoring this debate. And I want to thank you for attending. That's the biggest gift you can give somebody else, is your time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. In closing, I had a 40-year teaching career where I was privileged to teach very bright kids. And so it's nice to be in a place where bright people are engaged. I just think it's a wonderful opportunity for this community to benefit. Part of the problem with debates, as someone who spent some time thinking about presidential debates, is that they benefit the information rich. The more you know, the more benefit you draw from a debate. So your job then becomes to go out and help others become informed. Become campaigners, help these people out, run for office, and most of all, vote. The ballots will be in the mail shortly, and you need to return them and do your part to see that this system operates. Because it operates because people step up and take their part, and voters do their part to help out. I'd like to thank the Chamber, most of all the candidates, the audience, and the folks who wrote what I think were just dynamite questions. Applause is a renewable resource, so if you would please applause for all of this. And with that, you're free to go home. Thank you all.